up, fellas? Yes, sir.
All right. We are live, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. For those of you who are normally watch my live shows, you guys probably notice that I'm using the green screen background today. That's because if you guys have been following along, we are in the process of moving and there's literally nothing on my walls back here. So figured, hey, I would just do a green screen. So again, you guys, let me know if you guys can hear me and see me okay. And we are going to talk about there's so much that happened today, like tonight, I should say. And it where do I even begin is what I'm trying to say. Where do I even begin with all this Jimmy Butler trade rumors? Plus, we got some other Suns stuff I do want to talk about, but that will be way later in the show. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably have seen what I've seen, and we're going to get into it because there's so much that like happened in the span of 2 hours. That's why I'm kind of glad I waited to go live, because I was like, I kind of want to see how this plays out for a minute, you know? So much has happened in the last 2 hours, but I do just want to start off by saying this. Jimmy Butler, as of December 11th at 8:34 p.m. when I am recording this, has not requested a trade from the Miami Heat. Let me just start off with that. As of right now, Jimmy Butler has not requested a trade, requested a trade from the Miami Heat. He still plays for the Miami Heat. He is still under contract in the Miami Heat. And who knows? I mean, I was responding to a couple of people on Twitter. I was talking to some of my friends, and I said, we will see what happens, but nothing is impossible in the NBA. Because if you would have told me, last year in 2023, that both Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant would be playing for the Phoenix Suns, if you would have told me that like 5-6 years ago, I would have said you are crazy. So nothing is impossible. And I know we're going to get into it, but I know his agent came out and responded to Shams, yada, yada, yada. We're going to get into that. That doesn't, and I know it's his agent, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's impossible, y'all. Okay, so where do we begin? This is nuts. I literally was at work and the news broke, and I ran a quick errand, and I kind of like started taking my notes and everything and things I wanted to talk about. And as I was like coming home, eating dinner, getting things prepped for this live show, we just kept getting like update. Like I said, this is sort of like a developing story in a way, because so much has just gone on, y'all. Guys, can anybody in the chat just let me know if we're looking and sounding good? I know there might be a little bit of a lag, but please just let me know, if we're looking and sounding good. So yeah. Okay. So let's begin here. Let's start with the man himself who first reported it. And that is Shams Charania. I'm so used to saying from The Athletic, but he's no longer with The Athletic. He is working for ESPN now. So let me share my words. Thank you, Mark Jackson. Thank you, MC Cole. I had to double check. You guys already know the drill. One-man show here. Okay. So this is what Shams Charania reported. Wait, what's going on here? My computer is being so slow. Here we go. So yeah, this was earlier today. I'm sure you guys saw this. Shams Charania reports, the Phoenix Suns are another team that Jimmy Butler's agent, more on that later, that Jimmy Butler's agent, Bernie Lee, has indicated in league circles that the 6-time All-Star is open as a destination while Miami listens to trade offers. Sources tell ESPN. And then, that also goes along with Jimmy Butler's preferred destinations being the Dallas Mavericks, the Houston Rockets, and the Golden State Warriors. So if you're just tuning in, Earlier today, Jimmy Butler, according to Shams Charania from ESPN, is reporting that the Phoenix Suns are another team that Jimmy Butler and his agent apparently have as preferred trade destinations. So, lots to take away from that. I will just say this. This doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I just want to just say this. I remember when the report came out that Tyus Jones might be a possibility to the Phoenix Suns. I didn't listen to my gut because I remember I was like, oh yeah, like I did one live show and then the news started like heating up. And I was like, oh, it can wait. I'm going to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. And right before I got in the car, Tyus Jones signed with the Phoenix Suns. I should have just had listened to my gut, right? And I remember when I first saw the Jimmy Butler trade reports, rumors, before the Suns news came out, I kind of had a gut feeling. I was like, I wonder if he'd be interested in Phoenix. And I wasn't just saying that because the current state of the Suns, which we're going to get into that later. I wasn't just saying that because, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. And after we got Bradley Beal, I personally believe we can get any star in the NBA. But I just kind of had like a gut feeling. And despite what his agent is currently saying, which we will get into that soon, I kind of have a gut feeling about this. Am I crazy for saying that? I'm not trying to like come off as like hot take, clickbaity, but like I kind of have a weird gut feeling about this, you guys. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but like the fact that Jimmy Butler, assuming this report is true, assuming that Jimmy Butler is interested in coming to the Phoenix Suns, it's one of his preferred destinations, is awesome. And I have a gut feeling about it. So I want to continue on though, because this this is a developing story. So after Shams Charania tweeted that out, and it's funny, I swear, like on my life, because like the Twitter algorithm's kind of weird, like the X algorithm, however you want to call it nowadays. I still call it Twitter. I was just like retweeting stuff and looking at some Jimmy Butler, Phoenix Suns related tweets, and this popped up on my timeline. I couldn't even believe it. And there was a few tweets here that we do have to react to. So if you guys are seeing my screen, this is the Twitter account of Jimmy Butler's agent. I guess it's Bernie, but we're going to Bernie Lee. This was the first tweet right here. He says, all right, listen, I gave you a pass yesterday because I was busy. But if you don't stop putting my name in your complete and utter made up BS, I don't want to cuss on here because YouTube is very sensitive with cursing. If you don't if you don't stop putting my name on your complete and utter made up BS because you normally aren't worth my time to acknowledge, continued. So that was the first response tweet from Jimmy Butler's agent. And then he had like 3 more after this. And then it gets a little juicier, y'all. Like apparently this is his agent, and I think that's loud and clear now. So let me see. That was the first tweet. Then he follows that up and says, because you can only like post so many words in a tweet, and he doesn't have the verified account. So he goes, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm a middle-aged dad, but just know it would indicate several dislike. World, all of this is fabricated. So I guess that's kind of the first takeaway, was he responded with one tweet, and then there's another thing right here. He says, world, all of this is fabricated. I have never and honestly, it would help me or the position I represent to do anything that's been reported by said, quote, journalist. So he's really going after Shams Charania here. Remember, this is Jimmy Butler's agent. He had that first tweet where he's like, all right, yesterday I was busy. I let that one slide, but now you're putting my name, as he put it, Bernie Lee puts it, in complete and utter BS. Then he responds with, world, all of this is fabricated. And then he's not done, y'all. He has another tweet right here. I love this. He goes, Shams Sharania. He goes, Shams, this is your opportunity to say my bad. Quote, I let Chat GPT write my tweets and it went old school Peter Vesey. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He goes, Shams, Peter was a writer in the 90s to be a trendsetter. Invent the new I was hacked. Carry on all. Thank you. Oh my goodness. That is apparently Jimmy Butler's agent, Bernie Lee. Legit just going off on Shams Charania. Sorry, y'all. I need a sip of my water. Give me a second. How you guys doing tonight? We got 23 people in here, y'all. Seriously, crush that like button right now. Whatever you're doing, just stop what you're doing. Crush that like button. Share the show. Tell your friends about Suns Geek, y'all. We got so much to talk about. A lot of the show will be Jimmy Butler focused, but we got some other Suns stuff we have to talk about, and I cannot wait. Okay, actually, real quick, y'all, I got to fix my lighting. This is starting to bug me. There we go. That looks a little better. Okay. That's what you get here on Suns Geek, y'all. Y'all get real, authentic, spur of the moment stuff like that where I fix my lighting because, I'm a one-man show here. What am I supposed to do? Okay. So yeah, his agent's going off. And then for what it's worth, now this isn't like a huge deal, but for what it's worth, now, and I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. I forget if this is their GM or like their owner. Yeah, it's the Heat owner. Okay, thank you. Oops, I forgot to share my screen. My bad, y'all. Give me a second here. But the Miami Heat owner, keyword in that, Miami Heat owner. I'm trying to share my screen. What's going on with my life? The Miami Heat owner, Mickey Arison, I hope that's how you pronounce that last name, retweeted all of Bernie Lee's tweets. That's the Miami Heat owner. So that'd be like Matt Ishbia retweeting some fabricated Kevin Durant stuff, right? Which it wouldn't surprise me if that's happened before. So his agent is pretty much calling BS, or in his words, complete and utter BS. His words, not mine. And then the owner, Mickey Arison, or Arison, says, Heat owner Mickey Arison just reported agent Bernie Lee's statement saying that the latest reports on Jimmy Butler and from Shams Charania are false. It appears Miami is also denying that they are open to trading Butler. Now, there hasn't been like an official statement from, again, I said this at the very start of the show. There hasn't been an actual trade request from Jimmy Butler. There hasn't been anything from their GM, to my knowledge. I don't follow the Heat that closely, so, I don't know if their GM has recently said anything. And their agent's firing back at him. Now, look, another reason that this is so exciting is because yesterday we had so many trade rumors, Jimmy Butler being involved in a lot of them, but we had so many different trade rumors hit, the Twitter sphere. But that's just because it's, almost mid-December and more contracts that were recently signed can now be traded. And, the trade deadline's February 6th or whatever. So, but it was pretty awesome seeing all the trade, rumors yesterday. And I want to also share this. We're actually going to listen to something. Now we're not going to listen to the whole thing because they eventually got off topic, but the Miami Heat had a practice today and Jimmy Butler spoke on these trade rumors. Now keep in mind, real quick before we watch this, that this was before, I believe it was before Shams Charania's, tweets and reports, because I assume practice probably took place around noon-ish or throughout the day. And then Shams's tweet was like 5:30-ish my time, so like, and here, now look, we don't actually hear the question that is asked, but this is from the Miami Heat's practice today. And Jimmy Butler, it's like a minute-long clip. We're gonna react to it live. Jimmy Butler definitely had some things to say. Nothing really groundbreaking. Again, he hasn't actually gone out and like requested a trade, but this is what Jimmy Butler had to say at practice today. So let's listen to Jimmy Butler. Now, you'll hear some basketballs bouncing in the background, so I'll turn up the volume as loud as I can. But this is what Jimmy Butler had to say today. Let me just play this.
I actually like it. It's good to be talked about. I don't think there's a such thing as like bad publicity to a point. But somebody talking about me getting traded, that's a lot.
It is a lot, but obviously you're in a situation contractually. You have an opt-out after the year. There's a trade deadline within 2 months. Starting Sunday, players become eligible to be traded. Can you appreciate that? And do you understand that it might be this way now for a little while?
It's fine with me. Doesn't bother me not one bit. And I do appreciate it. I appreciate going out there and hooping. I appreciate being efficient, being effective, and helping my team win. I appreciate it all. I don't ever take playing basketball for anybody for granted.
Where do you stand as far as long-term future, hopefully otherwise, with the Miami?
Who knows?
Where do you stand long-term future when it comes to your contract? You were told us earlier in the year that money doesn't matter, but money seems to always matter.
Not really. My kids matter. My happiness matters. My well-being matters, and my family matters. Right now, it's all about competing, staying healthy, playing some great basketball. I think I've done that so far, so we'll see what we got.
If Pat holds this team together, what do you think the ultimate upside is based on how you're playing now, based on what might come next?
Say that one more.
If the team is held together, what do you think the upside is here? What do you think the potential and possibilities are?
I mean, it's always going to be a championship. Tyler's playing in.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now, I think the biggest takeaway right there was when the reporter asked him, and he pretty much, I think he pretty much asked him, how do you view your, future in Miami? He said, and I quote, "Who knows?" And he's right. Jimmy Butler's been traded 3 times throughout his career. He knows that this is a business. He knows he can get traded at any point. So he's not wrong. And again, as I said at the very beginning of this show, he has not publicly came out and said, Miami Heat, Pat Riley, trade me. He hasn't done that yet. But you just watched that post-practice clip. He said he was spitting facts. He was saying, hey, I want to take care of my family, take care of my kids. I just want to play basketball. I don't know what my future looks like with Miami. Being mentioned in trade reports is a lot. Like, you guys heard it from the man himself. Now, that doesn't mean that, like, tomorrow we're all going to wake up and Jimmy Butler's going to be a Phoenix Sun. I mean, it could happen. It's not impossible, but it's probably extremely unlikely. But in the future, I mean, we're talking maybe a couple short months from now. Remember, Kevin Durant was traded, like, at midnight the night of the deadline. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying anything is possible. And we're going to get into the numbers and we're going to get into what some other people who have actual real sources are saying. There's a lot of stuff floating around right now. So don't kill the messenger. I'm just playing messenger. That's what we do here on Suns Geek, y'all. We play messenger. I quote report on what's being reported. And I put I put report into quotations because I am far from a reporter and I would never will be a reporter. So yeah, as Suns Fever says right here, I love this comment. Geek said tomorrow Jimmy Butler will be a Sun. You heard it here first. That's right, you guys. Groundbreaking news. This is crazy Suns news. Jimmy Butler will be a Phoenix Sun tomorrow. You heard it here first on Suns Geek because I know everything. Because I am the Shams. I am the Woj of the Phoenix Suns. And I know everything. And I have real sources, y'all. You can bet on that. Okay. Seriously, don't do that. I have no sources. Okay. Cool. Speaking of people who have sources, people that I trust. Let's start with, there's so many, y'all. Like I literally have so many. I'm just like, I don't know. Let's start here. Let's start with John Gambadoro from Arizona Sports, who over and over and over again, he has been right about so much Phoenix Suns stuff. He knows about Sun stuff way in advance. And I know there's other people we're going to get to. Trust me, we'll get to them. Shout out to my guy, Legends Productions. Appreciate you being here. Go check out his content, y'all. Makes great NBA content. Check him out. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. Check him out, man. All right. So John Gambadoro, earlier, this was around 6:43 my time. And let me share my screen so you guys can see it. Tweeted out this. Sorry, let me just fix my screen real quick. My bad, y'all. There we go. That looks better. Cool. John Gambadoro tweeted this out. We'll have more on Butler later because I believe he was still doing radio when he tweeted this. But he said, this is what I reported back in June of 2023. John Gambadoro, he even quote tweeted his tweet back in June of 2023, which was proven right. At the time, Miami had no interest in Bradley Beal, and that was 18 months ago. Took a beating from the Heat fans at the time, but Miami did not want him. And then, you know, the original tweet from July or June 17, 2023 was, I do not believe the Miami Heat are interested in Bradley Beal from what I've heard. Maybe why the Suns are the leaders in the clubhouse. It's certainly, you know, not because Phoenix has a lot to offer. So he was just trying to make a point, you know. Apparently he received a lot of backlash. But I just wanted to start there. So then this is where things get a little tricky. This is where it's, who do you actually believe? Do you believe Shams Charania? Do you believe John Gambadoro? Or let's go here. Now, there's a few tweets. I probably missed some because I'm sure Gerald has been tweeting a lot. Shout out to Gerald Bourget from PHNX. He tweeted this out. And again, I guess this is where, who do you believe? He goes, now this was at 6:07 p.m. Now, I'm sure he's tweeted out a lot. I'm just going to have to go to his Twitter and read everything. But he said, per a source, the Suns aren't pursuing a Jimmy Butler trade. Aside from the obvious difficulties with both the Suns and the Heat being tax apron teams that I've already pointed out, Phoenix believes in their big three and what they've seen from this group, 11-2 when healthy. So that's from Gerald Bourget from PHNX. And, you know, I'll get to it. We'll maybe look at some other tweets because he had a tweet that before I went live, I clicked like on, and he was talking about some stuff. So we'll get to that in a minute. Harlan Vega says, I am the Woj of the Phoenix Suns. Facts. I wish, y'all. I wish I had all these sources and information. I have nothing, y'all. I'm just a big fan, you guys. All right. So then, I believe this was before, too, before Gerald's tweet. And it doesn't really matter necessarily, like, who said what first. Because, you know, I don't know. These things move fast and, you know, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is this. At 5:53 p.m. my time, Flex from Jersey, who used to be a part of PHNX, tweeted out, can confirm that the interest is definitely real regarding Jimmy Butler and the Suns. Now, he had a few follow-up tweets as well. And I think the last one here is probably the most important. We'll get to the other tweets, but this was the last thing Flex tweeted out. Now, you guys know me. Flex has been on the channel a couple times. He's a good friend of mine. I love Flex. That's my boy right there. I really do trust Flex. And I trust Gerald as well. He's a great guy. I've met him before. And I trust John Gambadoro. Maybe I trust a little too easily. But if there's anybody, like those, in my opinion, those are the three guys that like really know what's going on, like have sources. You know, maybe Kellen Olson as well and all those other guys. But anyways, so this is sort of the last tweet that Flex tweeted out. And he goes, Jimmy's agent is furious about Shams leaking private conversations with other people around the league and saying his name in the report. And you know what? In all fairness, if I was Jimmy Butler's agent, I'd probably be mad too. So let's humble ourselves for a minute, Suns fans. He goes, that's what's going on. It has nothing to do with the fact that Dallas, Houston, and Golden State and Phoenix are indeed preferred destinations. So again, who do y'all believe? Not that that really matters. I don't want to start an all-out war with I believe Shams or I believe Flex or I believe Gerald. No, like we're not doing that. I'm just saying, just who do y'all believe? I don't know. Who knows? This could all be nothing in like a month or two. Like what if Jimmy Butler like doesn't get traded? Or like what if he gets traded to a completely different team that none of us are talking about? This would just be old news. Like, oh, remember that one time when we thought Jimmy Butler was going to get traded to Phoenix? And like, I know I sound goofy and silly because I'm always the one to tweet out, this is not NBA 2K, but like at the same time, I like to troll and I'll quote tweet stuff and I'll be like, LeBron James is a future Sun or this player is a future Phoenix Sun. But I'm just like joking. I'm just like trolling. But it's just because we have Devin Booker, but we have Kevin Durant, we have Bradley Beal, and we have a rich owner who like wants to spend money and win us a championship. So every time a player gets available, I'm going to like quote tweet and be like, he's a future Phoenix Sun. So Legends Productions has a great question. And since we're already almost a half hour in, I might as well just answer this question. But we still got more to talk about. Hold on, y'all. But I will just quickly answer this. He says, appreciate it, bro. Again, you guys, check out Legends Productions. Great content, great guy. He goes, do you think Jimmy Butler is going to be a Sun? Like, what percentage would you give it based on the reports? Let me just start off with that last part of his question. Based on the reports, or I guess in this case, the rumors, because I feel like, again, you guys, this is all just rumors. If Jimmy Butler would have requested a trade, he probably would have done it at practice or after. He probably would have told the media or told his agent, hey, for real, I don't want to be in Miami anymore. Trade me. So technically, this is just a rumor. So because it is just a rumor, and maybe this is way too high of a percentage, I'm giving it like a 40% because I have this gut feeling. And I don't know, like right when I saw that Jimmy Butler was like, hey, I'm adding Phoenix to my preferred trust. Apparently he added us to his, destinations list. I just have this feeling, y'all. I think it's unlikely. I don't think it's going to happen, but I have like a feel. I'm giving it like a 40%. Am I crazy? Right now in the comments, tell me what percentage do you guys give Jimmy Butler being traded to the Phoenix Suns? Is it a 1% chance? Do you give it a 93% chance? Do you give it a 50% chance? Let me know, y'all. Let me know. That's a great question from my guy Legends. I appreciate you being here, man. Who knows if this is going to happen? Sawbucks says 75%. Sawbucks, I love that. 75% from Sawbucks. M. Cole 42 says 33%. Hey, I was giving it 40. So if you're giving it 33, man, that's okay. That's a lot higher than I thought some Suns fans would think. Mark Jackson says, I think it'll be a 20% chance. We are way over the cap. I'm glad you said that, Mark, because immediately after Shams tweeted, his tweet out, Bobby Marks of ESPN had this tweet. Now, I don't think he was like, him and Shams are friends. I assume they're friends. They're probably colleagues at the bare minimum. He tweeted this out. He quote tweeted it. And we can look into the contracts and everything here in a minute. But he goes, Phoenix is a second apron team, obviously, and not allowed to combine salaries in any trade. 68% of their salary is compromised in Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. So he tweeted that out. So that's sort of the, because I don't understand the whole CBA stuff. I don't understand the whole, salary caps and contracts and all that stuff. So this is sort of a short version of that. Phoenix is a second apron team, not allowed to combine salaries in a trade. So again, this is not NBA 2K for all you trade machine fans out there. 68% of their salary is compromised in Booker, Beal, KD, and Beal has no trade clause. Suns Fever 83 says, I'm giving it a 0% chance, meaning James Jones will have it done by the weekend. That's great. Jordan, my guy, I appreciate you being here. He says, 1 a.m., breaking news, Jimmy Butler has been traded to Phoenix. Could you imagine that? I get done with my live show. I'm like getting ready to go to bed, and then bam, Jimmy Butler traded to the Phoenix Suns. Oh, my God. Could you imagine? Abraham goes, honestly, 0%. No need for a small forward, shooting forward, slashing forward. Trade for a power forward or a center. Derek says 50%. 0%. To be honest, I don't think Matt gives up on his big moves. Abraham says, watch Jimmy get traded here right before Geeks goes to bed. Y'all, I felt so bad for my guy, Philly Take with RB. I kid you not. You can even go and watch it. He went live for like 5 hours during one point during free agency. And I think like an hour or two later, Paul George signed with the Sixers. And he covers the Sixers on his channel. Go check him out, by the way. He does great content and everything. But I felt so bad for him, man. 5 hours just waiting for that Paul George news. And then bam, right when he ended his stream, like an hour later, it happened. And again, it kind of reminds me of what happened with Kevin Durant. I think I had went live that same night. Or is he like the night before, the day? I was like live streaming a lot. And then bam, right at midnight, Kevin Durant signs or traded to the Phoenix Suns, not signed. Okay. So good question from Jordan here. And I should probably know this off the top of my head, but I don't. By chance, how many years does Bradley Beal have left on his current contract? I feel like it's like 3, but we're going to look it up right now. If you guys want great, up to date. I'm not saying like ESPN and all those other websites aren't up to date, but I like going to Spot Track. They do a great job of, breaking down contracts and keeping you up to date and all that stuff. And so does like ESPN and all that. But this is sort of an easier resource, I guess, to find these contracts. I'm pulling it up now. My computer and stuff's being a little laggy. Yo, we got 52 people in here. 52 people. Y'all crush the like button right now. Seriously, you guys. It helps support the channel. It helps keep the lights on here. It's free to subscribe. It's free to like. Please crush that like button and share the show. Tell people about Suns Geek. There's so many great Suns pods and Suns channels nowadays. Help support the show, y'all. Crush that like button, y'all. Okay. So, yeah, Bradley Beal has 3 years left. If you count this year, it's 3 years left. He has a player option in 2026-27, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2027-28. And I'll share the screen here in a minute. Yeah, like Sawbuck said, 3 years, last year's a player option. So let me share my screen. We'll check out Bradley Beal. We're also gonna talk about Jimmy Butler, because outside of all these rumors, I feel like I haven't actually talked about Jimmy Butler as a player. So let me take a sip of my water and we will get to this. My computer is lagging like crazy, y'all. What is going on with my life? Okay, are we good? Let me know if we're going good. Okay. Yeah, so here's Bradley Beal's contract, y'all. I mean, people aren't exaggerating when they say Bradley Beal makes $50 million, because that's how much he's getting paid right now. And there's his contract right there. 3 years left, including this year. 3 years getting paid $50 million. The cap hit on that is 35%. So in the year 2026-27, which is just a couple short years away, he will have a player option, which means he can choose to return or not. And then the next year after that, he is an unrestricted free agent, which means he can he can sign with anybody. So that's Bradley Beal's contract situation. Let's see. Yeah, Harlan Vega says Bradley Beal's current contract runs through the 26-27 NBA season. He signed a 5-year, $251 million deal in 2022. Now, that was before/during the Wizards teardown, and when they finally just admitted, hey, this ain't working. You know, they got, I think they got like new ownership and a new GM, and I've been fascinated with the Wizards rebuild, but we're not here to talk about the Wizards. Suns Fever 83 says, lights going out if you don't smash the like button. Hulk, smash that like button. Seriously, guys, crush that like button. Seriously, like, we need it, y'all. Okay. Let's move on here because we got lots more to talk about. Let's talk about Jimmy Butler, like the player, because I feel like we just have not done that. I'm going to go to his basketball reference page. I feel like we owe it to Jimmy Butler to, you know, at least talk about him as a player. Because I'm sure, you know, a lot of this show has been contracts and salaries and can this trade work and who's reporting what. But come on, y'all. Let's talk about Jimmy Butler as a player. Let's just pretend for a minute. Let's just use our imaginations, y'all. Imagination. Let's just pretend for a minute that the Phoenix Suns do trade for Jimmy Butler. This is who we are getting. My computer is being so slow right now, so you guys are going to have to bear with me here. Because, you guys know me at Suns Geek. I have all the updated equipment and you know, high-speed internet and all that stuff. You guys know me. Okay. Here we go. Jimmy Butler, y'all. Now, we'll talk about it later, but he is 35 years old. He'll be 36 September 14th. Hey, he was born the same year I was, 1989. That's cool. But he's a 6-time All-Star. 6-time All-Star, y'all. Let me just lower this comment real quick. Okay. 6-time All-Star. 5-time All-NBA. 5-time All-Defensive Team. He was the 2024-15 Most Improved Player and the 2022-23 Eastern Conference MVP. That's a new award, but still, he was the Eastern Conference MVP and won the steals championship, so the most steals in the league, I believe, that year in 2020-21. Also been to the finals, I think like 3 times. And I was reading some stuff on Jimmy Butler earlier. He's currently averaging 19 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, nearly 5 assists while shooting 55% from the field and 36% from 3. Led the Heat to the finals in 2020, which was the bubble, and in 22-23. They both lost those series, but still went to the finals twice. And I know that he has, he hasn't had the best season, nor have the Miami Heat. Neither has Bam Adebayo, even though I think he's playing better lately. The Heat, at least from what we are assuming, and I know it's never right to assume, but eventually I feel that this current era of the Miami Heat will soon be over. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or even this season, but like if the Heat, let's say the Heat are the 6th seed and they lose in the first round, right? How much longer do you keep going with Jimmy and Bam and Tyler Hero? Do you keep Bam Adebayo and trade Jimmy Butler and trade Tyler Hero and build around your young guys? Or do you trade all 3 of them and just go full on rebuild? That's the thing. The Heat have actually won championships. They were in the finals like 2 years ago. And yes, they have young talent, but they have, besides Greg Popovich, they have the greatest coach in the NBA in Eric Spoelstra. They have an owner and a front office that have won championships and been in the finals. It's like, I don't know if they're necessarily going to just blow it up. Like Pat Riley, dude. Pat Riley is a winner. He is a competitor. That guy wants to win. But like, do you really believe in this core when you haven't got it done yet? You've had 2 chances to win a championship with this core and you haven't done it. And I think I saw on a podcast, I don't know whose podcast that Pat Riley was on. And I think I just read the headline and kept scrolling, but I think Pat Riley legit said, I have trouble trading my players. Like he does not want to trade his players because you do build relationships with these guys and they become friends. And some of them, sometimes they even become like family, you know? So I get it. And again, I'm just paraphrasing what he said, but I'm pretty confident he said, I have trouble trading my players. That's why the Heat really don't make that many moves. So again, if the Miami Heat get bounced in the first round or even get bounced in the second round, or maybe they make the play-in tournament and don't win it, like, what do the Miami Heat do? What if during that summer, like this upcoming summer, Jimmy Butler's like, okay, this ain't working. Get me out of Miami. And, you know, Tyler Hero's having a great year too. You could argue Tyler Hero might be an all-star this year. I know that's crazy, but he's been balling this year. Maybe they're like, hey, you know, we're going to keep Tyler Hero. We're going to keep Bam Adebayo. We're going to go in a different direction. I don't know. I don't know. But I just wanted to give Jimmy Butler his flowers. He is a great player. He is a great defender. And again, I know he's getting older and he's regressed a little bit, but he's a great player. You see the resume right there. And a lot of talk, especially the last 24 hours or so, has been about what Jimmy Butler would do in the locker room. And I heard my friends over at the Suns Jam Session podcast, John and Matt, they were talking about this because they did a live show before I went live. Go check them out. Their episode was called Butler Mania, I believe. Go check that out. They were talking a lot about like what Jimmy Butler would bring to this Phoenix Suns locker room, which obviously at the time of this recording, the current state of the Suns is not good. And the Suns sort of need that injection of Jimmy Butler and his attitude and his, you know, the accountability he would bring, the leadership he would bring, the toughness he would bring, the experience he would bring. And I really put experience like in bold letters because, again, been to the finals twice, been in some big games throughout his career, been in the league for how many years now? 13 years. Jimmy Butler would be great for this Phoenix Suns team. Let's just, again, use our imaginations for a minute. Let's just say the Phoenix Suns were playing a lot better and we were somewhat healthier and these Jimmy Butler trade rumors were still popping up. I still think that, and again, we're just pretending here. I still think that Jimmy Butler would be, you know, good for the Phoenix Suns, whether we were healthy or not, whether we had a better record than we currently do. Does that make sense? So again, Jimmy Butler would provide so much, you know, quality on the court, but also would be a great veteran and a great locker room presence and leader and captain, which is much needed with this team. And I heard like Suns Jam specifically, and I'm sure other people have talked about it too, but the fact that we would move off of Bradley Beal's contract, which I'm torn. I'll talk about Bradley Beal in a minute. I'm still torn on that. Because like, what if the reports are also true? What if Matt Ishbia and Phoenix Suns ownership and CEO Josh Bartelstein and James Jones, our GM, what if those reports are true? What if they do not want to move off of Bradley Beal and his contract yet? What if they still believe in this core? And, that's where I'm still a little torn, because I still am sort of a Bradley Beal defender. But as the days and the games specifically go on, it's harder and harder to believe in him because he has not played well. And clearly we've had no success. I mean, yeah, 49 wins last season was nice, but last year was a complete and utter failure and a disappointment. And that's an understatement in itself. So, we would move off the Bradley Beal contract, which we just went over, 3 years, 50 mil, if not more. Unrestricted free agent in 2027. And, again, even if we were healthy, even if we had a better record, and these Jimmy Butler trade rumors were still popping up, it might be that injection that the Phoenix Suns need. It might be, that leadership and accountability that the Phoenix Suns need. And I do have a quote later about Kevin Durant that I want to read you guys, because I feel like Kevin Durant's leadership gets taken the wrong direction. And I feel like we really need to start listening to what the coaches and players say about Kevin Durant, because they know way more than we do. And everything they've been saying about Kevin Durant and his leadership is great. And Suns Jam was talking about this earlier. Kevin Durant, and I've said this so many times on my channel, Kevin Durant just wants to play basketball. He doesn't care about trade rumors. He doesn't care about this and that. Kevin Durant just wants to play ball. If Kevin Durant could literally turn off his injuries and play all 82 games, play all 48 minutes, I guarantee you that he would do that. If he could physically, and mentally play all 48 minutes of every single basketball game, Kevin Durant would. There was a clip on Instagram from the Suns Instagram. They had this party or event, and literally the camera turns and Kevin Durant's just shooting a basketball at this public event where people are dressed all nice and fancy. Literally, you can check it out on Instagram. Kevin Durant's just always hooping. I need a sip of my water, y'all. Give me a minute. Excuse me. Kevin Durant loves to hoop. He doesn't care about trade rumors. He doesn't care about what this team's do. Not the Suns, but he doesn't care about what Team X is doing or what the Heat are doing or the Thunder are doing. He does not care. He cares about the Phoenix Suns. He cares about playing ball. He cares about competing and winning championships. He doesn't care about reports or what, I know he does follow Twitter and responds to fans, which I love, by the way. I love that he does that. I wish more players would do that, but he doesn't care. He just wants to play ball. Devin Booker is a little different. Devin Booker, I'm sure he sees and hears a lot about what we have to say, but I don't think Booker cares either, because Booker just wants to just play ball and win. And we all know Booker's a little more, chill and, but I don't know. Speaking of that, and I hope I'm not going off topic here because we still got lots more to talk about. I saw a tweet earlier, and I just want to just share this tweet one more time because I feel like this is important. Because obviously, as Suns fans nowadays, we are very spoiled. We expect dominance. We all thirst for a championship, and we have 3 big-time players on big-time contracts, and we have great role players, and we have an owner who is always making moves, and yada, yada, yada. So we are spoiled nowadays as Phoenix Suns fans. But I'm going to tell you guys a little story, a quick story, that 5 or 6, 7 years ago, that's not how things were, Suns fans. We were not spoiled. We were winning 18, 20, 24 games a year and playing some of the worst basketball in Suns history. And there was a tweet earlier that I love, and I hope I'm getting this person's name right because he's a great follow on Twitter. A.A. Ryan, I hope I pronounced that right. Just a simple tweet. I love it. Tweets out, it's cool to see all these stars actually want to come to Phoenix. And I retweeted that with so much happiness and pride. It's cool to see all these stars actually want to come to Phoenix. Guys, again, 5, 6, 7 years ago, that was not the case. 5, 6, 7. Let's go back to the year 2018, y'all. Let's all put ourselves in the 2018 shoes and go back in time. DeAndre Ayton was the number 1 overall pick, the very first overall pick in Phoenix Suns history, and we had just won, 18, 19 games or something? Could you imagine if back in 2018, Kevin Durant was like, hey, I want to come to Phoenix, and then fast forward 1 year, hey, Bradley Beal's getting traded to Phoenix. And then, fast forward a few months later, hey, Jimmy Butler wants to come to Phoenix. Could you imagine that? Suns fans would I would lose my mind back in 2018, back in 2017, back in 2016. Could you imagine that? It's cool to see all these stars actually want to come to Phoenix. And not just that, y'all. I remember the days when LeBron James would give a compliment to Devin Booker or say something nice about his friend, our Suns GM, general manager James Jones. That was big news. That was a big deal. Holy crap. Did you hear what LeBron said about Devin Booker? Did you see what Kobe and Devin Booker were talking about? Or, what Kobe said about Book and et cetera, et cetera. This star said this, that player said this about the Suns. Y'all, we are so spoiled nowadays. And I'll humble myself. I'm spoiled as a Suns fans too. I'm a Suns fan at the end of the day, y'all. I know I make videos and do these live shows, but I'm just a Suns fan, y'all. So it's awesome that stars want to come to Phoenix and play here. Can I take a breath for a minute? Been ranting for 53 minutes. Don't worry, I got water right here, y'all. Oh, thank you, Harlan Vega. He had to correct me real quick. He says, Phoenix only had 19 wins and 63 losses back in 2018. Oh, that's nuts, y'all. Holy crap. 19 wins and 63 losses. Good God. I love that. Much love, Harlan Vega. Much love. Yeah, Mark Jackson says, the days we had the Morris twins. Oh, that was a bad time. Yeah. Matthew says, mind blown emoji. Hard to imagine. I remember those days. Yep. Y'all, it's nuts. Sometimes I go back. I'm going to be real with you guys for a minute. Sometimes I go back and I watch my old videos and I'm like, this was the Suns' reality. Like Markieff Morris and Archie Goodwin getting into a scuffle on the bench, and when Marcus Morris or Markieff Morris wanted to be traded, and when there's just so many things, so many videos, y'all. It's nuts. I'm like, man, that was the Suns' reality. I remember making videos about two-way players that signed with the Suns because we were just so bad and we needed players. I mean, I still do that now, but you get the point. It was a different time back then, y'all. What are we even talking about anymore? Okay. Anything else? Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this just real quickly. I read this on CBS Sports earlier, and I think I agree with the Rockets general manager. Now, I don't exactly know when he said this, but this is, I think his name's Raphael Stone. He's the Rockets GM. He said, and I quote, oh, this was Tuesday. This was on Tuesday. I apologize. So already we've heard Rockets GM Raphael Stone shut down trade rumors to acquire high-profile names on Tuesday, saying, quote, we like this team. We definitely do not intend to change anything, and I would be shocked if something changes this season. We like where we're at. So I think I agree with their general manager of the Houston Rockets. They're last time I checked, they have like 14 wins or something. They're like second or third in the West. They're playing great. They have potentially a future all-star in Alfred Şengün, who's an incredible player. He's like a Jokic 2.0, but I mean that with all the highest praise I can say. They have a rising star in Jalen Green. They got Tari Eason and is it Amon? I always get them up. Asar Thompson or Amon, one of the Thompson twins. Great defensive duo right there. And they have all these other quality role players like Fred VanVleet and probably like 10 other guys. Dylan Brooks, I think, is still there. And so many other guys. They are playing great basketball, being coached by Ime Udoka, the former Celtics coach. And I don't know their salary cap situation, but they are truly building something great there. Alfred Şengün went down with an injury late in the season. They won 11 in a row and almost made the play-in tournament. They like live. They are a great defensive team. They like preach defense. And you just heard their GM say, hey, we like what we have. We like where we're at. And I would be shocked if anything changes. Now, that doesn't mean the Rockets aren't going to make a move. They could make maybe a couple small moves here and there, but to go full on out and trade for Jimmy Butler, I don't think that's in the Rockets' plans. Because again, going back to Jimmy Butler, the man who is the topic of today's show, he just said, apparently, according to Shams, Houston, Dallas, Golden State, and now Phoenix are his preferred trade destinations. But he hasn't actually requested a trade. So we've gone like an hour talking about this Jimmy Butler stuff. I'm sure there's things that I've missed. I'm sure there's tweets that I've missed. I'm sure there's reports that I've missed. I know John Gambadoro and Arizona Sports were talking about it earlier, but there is one more tweet I do want to get to. Then we'll talk about some other Suns related stuff. Let me just get to one final tweet. Because again, I know Gerald Bourguet from PHNX has been all over this. You know, we talked about Flex from Jersey earlier. We talked about John Gambadoro, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like I don't know. Let me just give me a second here, you guys. Let me just read a couple things real quick. Okay, so outgoings. Okay, so nothing really groundbreaking here, but I will literally just share my screen. This is everything that Gerald Bourguet from PHNX, who again I trust. He's a great guy, and I feel like we should trust Gerald. But you know, sometimes things move fast and things change. We already read the tweet earlier that Gerald's sources are saying the Suns are not pursuing Jimmy Butler, but then he follows that up and tweets out, to clarify hypothetical question, trade math. Neither the Suns nor Heat can take back more money as a tax apron teams. We kind of talked about that earlier. Phoenix could take Jimmy Butler's $48 million salary in exchange for one of the big three salaries, but Miami couldn't take that salary back since it's more than Butler's. So in short terms, what Gerald is saying here is this.
A lot of boring math later.
It's a lot of boring math later. And he goes, now this was a follow-up tweet. This means Miami would need to add more outgoing money. A veteran minimum gets the job done. And it's a loophole since vet minimums don't count against agitating salaries. I hope I said that word right. So the Heat could attach a vet minimum in a deal, make the math work. But again, the Suns aren't trading Book, KD, or Beal, according to Gerald Bourguet from PHNX.
A lot of boring math later.
Yeah. So I don't know Who do you believe? Do you believe Shams Charania? Do you believe Flex? Do you believe Gambo? Do you believe Garrett or Gerald? I'm sorry. Do you believe me? Because I have all the sources. I know everything, right? I don't know. I don't know who I believe. I feel like I believe a combination of all of those people I just mentioned. But Jimmy Butler is still a Miami Heat. Probably will stay a Miami Heat for another month or so. I don't know. I really don't know, y'all. Like I said, I give it like a 40% chance, but I just have this gut feeling though. I have this gut feeling like something's gonna happen, y'all. You know, I was talking about it with John Voida from Suns Jam the other day. After we lost back-to-back really bad losses to the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic, like maybe there's a world, maybe, where somehow Bradley Beal, that Matt Ishbia, ownership, front office, they talk Bradley Beal into waiving that no trade clause, and they just move on. But that kind of brings me to my next topic. Remember earlier in the show, sorry guys, I'm going to lean back here. I'm going to grab my microphone like this. Let me know if it's too loud, but remember earlier in the show when I said, what if the Miami Heat get like bounced in the first round and then Jimmy wants out? And what if they're like, you know what, Tyler, you played great this year. You're probably going to be an all-star, but hey, we're moving on. And look, I'm not saying the Phoenix Suns are going to blow it up because I know a lot of you guys want the Suns to do that, which you're crazy if you want to do that, especially with a rich owner who actually gives a crap about this team. But what if, and I don't want this to happen as a Suns fan, I want us to win as many games as possible and go as far in the playoffs as possible. I mean, it's championship or bust. Let's say the Suns lose in like the second round. I'm gonna be wishful thinking here. Let's say we get to the Western Conference Finals and we lose. What if then? What if then Bradley Beal, and let's say Bradley Beal, as the kids like to say, plays mid. Let's just say he's mid throughout that playoff run, and Suns fans are pissed. And let's just, what if then Bradley Beal's like, hey, this ain't working out. I'm going to waive my no trade clause. Can you please trade me? I don't know. I think it's extremely, extremely unlikely that Kevin Durant right now anyways would want a trade request. Even if the Suns lose in the playoffs, I don't think he would ask for a trade. And to anybody out there that thinks that Devin Booker wants to get traded or for some reason wants to leave Phoenix, y'all are crazy. I'm sorry. Y'all are delusional. Y'all are crazy. It's not happening. But Bradley Beal, and I feel bad saying this, kind of is like the odd man out. He's the odd, quote, star out. He's the odd contract out, even though he has no trade clause. And, I've seen some other people say like, oh, well, we can trade Grayson Allen or we can trade Yusuf Nurkic. I don't think that can happen because of what we've talked about. And I don't know. And I'm just saying, nothing is impossible in the NBA. Matt Ishbia has the determination, the money, and if he really wants Jimmy Butler in Phoenix and believes in Jimmy Butler, I think he can get it done. It's probably unlikely, but it's not impossible. I think that is going to wrap up the Jimmy Butler talk, at least for now. Unless you guys have like a question, comment, concern, let me know. I do want to talk about some other Suns related stuff. And then we'll probably wrap up the show because I've already gone past an hour. So again, get your comments, get your questions, get your concerns in right now. Put it in the chat. Okay. There's some other Suns related stuff I do want to talk about. Thank you, Harlem Vega. I 100% agree here. Book is retiring a Sun. Absolutely. Devin Booker, very, very worst and unlikely scenario. Worst case scenario, very unlikely scenario. He will be the last Phoenix Sun to go. Just like he was the last Phoenix Suns player from that 2021 finals team. Okay. let's talk about some other Suns news, because there is some stuff to talk about. So I think we all kind of knew this, and this was before the Jimmy Butler trade rumors and all that, and all the trade rumors we got yesterday. It wasn't just Jimmy Butler in the trade room. There were so many trade rumors, but Shams Charania, and I feel like a couple other people did report that Kevin Durant, and I think even Yusuf Nurkic and I don't know about Grayson Allen because his injury was new, but it appears that the Suns are optimistic and hopeful that Kevin Durant and Yusuf Nurkic will play against the Utah Jazz, I believe, on Friday. And I think Suns head coach Mike Budenholzer said today that I think they said KD and Nurkic did 90% of practice, and I just want to make sure I'm getting that right. Okay. So Mike Budenholzer with some Suns injury updates. Yusuf Nurkic and Ryan Dunn did everything in practice. They'll see how they respond to today's work. Kevin Durant did 90% of practice, and quote, they're hopeful with him. Grayson Allen did 20%. Because in case you missed it, Grayson Allen, I think, landed on somebody's ankle might have been Jalen Suggs' ankle in the Orlando Magic game, left to the locker room and did not return. Grayson Allen's a tough dude. You never want an ankle injury. So I don't expect him to play anytime soon. But hey, if we're getting Kevin Durant back, if we're getting Yusuf Nurkic back, we're getting Ryan Dunn back, now's the time, because the Phoenix Suns need as many wins as possible. So that's a quick little injury update. I forgot to lower my banner here. We're not talking about Jimmy Butler anymore. We're talking about the latest Suns news. So yeah, in case you missed it, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic, Ryan Dunn all did, quote, 90% of things at practice today, and the Suns are optimistic that they will all play probably Friday against the Jazz. That's another thing too, y'all. I was talking about this with John from the Suns Jam Session podcast. I was confused. Give me a second here. Because of the in-season tournament, also known as the NBA Cup, and because the Suns lost games, they had to add 2 games in. And I thought we played Tuesday, which was yesterday, but we actually play Friday. So twice so far this season, the Phoenix Suns have had 5 or 4 days off in a row, which for this specific Phoenix Suns team is really good, because that's more days to rest up, to practice, watch film, and learn, from clearly the Phoenix Suns mistakes, because Suns made a lot of mistakes lately and their season has derailed. Their season has gone off the rails after going 9-1 with Kevin Durant, or as Gerald mentioned earlier, 11-2 with all of them healthy. Thank you, Mark Jackson. I appreciate your kindness, man. He says, thank you for all you do. Or thank you, Brandon, for all you do. I need to go. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the nice comment. Okay. Let's continue on, because there is more Sun stuff that I wanted to talk about. What is that? Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading some stuff here. Okay. Speaking of injuries, I want to read a quote from Mike Budenholzer, who said this maybe a week or 2 ago, and he's absolutely right. And I think I did screenshot it. So give me a second here, y'all. I'm going to do this on the fly. Oops, that's a video clip. I don't want to do that. What's going on here? My bad, y'all. This is the high quality content that you guys subscribe to. I appreciate y'all. Seriously, right now, if you haven't done it already, y'all, subscribe right now. Okay. Well, I can't find the screenshot for some reason, but I do have the quote here. Again, this comes from Suns head coach Mike Budenholzer, who says, and I quote, he's talking about injuries here. Let me just move that here. There we go. Okay. So this is Mike Budenholzer talking about injuries. And he says, and I quote, "It's a part of our league. We are not any different. I'm sure there's not a team in the league that's not dealing with some people in and out of lineups. And hopefully we teach and start to learn a way of playing that's good for everybody, regardless of who's healthy and who's not. Guys can find ways to contribute," said Suns head coach Mike Budenholzer. Then he talked about, like, players getting more minutes, yada, yada, yada. And I kind of low key wonder if that was like sort of a message being sent. Now, again, that quote was from a while ago, so take that as you will. But I just kind of wonder, like, was that maybe like low key a shot at the team saying, like, hey, you guys need to learn to win without Kevin Durant, or learn to win without Bradley Beal or Devin Booker. I don't know. Not trying to like stir up any drama. I'm just saying. But that was an interesting quote. And I absolutely agree with Mike Budenholzer there. Like, you got to learn to win without, your best players, which clearly the Phoenix Suns have not done. They've won one game without Kevin Durant? That's terrible. And he's right. Not every team, most teams in the league are plagued by injuries. That's what it feels like anyways in this injury-riddled season. So earlier in the show, I want to read you a quote about Kevin Durant's leadership. And I've talked about this a lot on this channel. And it's just a quick quote, but I feel like it's worth talking about. This was around the time that, Stephen A. Smith was starting drama with Kevin Durant and all that, and Kevin Durant called him a clown. But I just feel like this is worth noting. Damian Lee has talked about Kevin Durant's leadership a lot. Devin Booker has talked about his leadership a lot. But this stood out to me for some reason. Kevin Durant's leadership has been off the charts. He praised Kevin Durant for his actions. He praised his voice and has set the tone for the Phoenix Suns organization. I think I read that on The Athletic, and just quotes like that to me stand out. And that's where, yes, having Jimmy Butler would be a nice injection of leadership, accountability, toughness. But Kevin Durant brings that already. And I read something not too long ago that Kevin Durant is one of the more vocal players during like Suns practices and film sessions, especially as of late. Even though Kevin Durant's been out, Kevin Durant's one of the more vocal leaders when it comes to like film sessions and practices. So I think Kevin Durant's leadership gets a little, overblown. And I think people don't think he's a great leader. I think the opposite, because I actually listen to what the players say and what the coaches say. And if they're all saying Kevin Durant's a great leader, Kevin Durant is off the charts a great leader with his leadership and all that, I'm going to believe them until further notice. I just feel like I would talk about that because that's sort of a topic of discussion when you're talking about trading for Jimmy Butler. Now, look, will great leadership and will, toughness and locker room accountability win you a championship? I don't know, but I think you stand a better chance from teams that don't have that. Okay, y'all, what do we want to talk about? Let's go for maybe like 15 more minutes and then we'll wrap up, because there are some things I could talk about, but we're almost 2 hours, or actually an hour and a half in. Feels like 2 hours. There are some, but that's kind of the latest news. Like, the Suns are getting healthier. Kevin Durant's leadership is a lot better than what people make it out to be. And Jimmy Butler, apparently, despite what his agent has said, wants to be traded to the Suns along with the Rockets and the Mavericks and the Warriors. Speaking of those teams, just real quick, we already went over Houston, their GM. I don't think they're going to do anything. The Warriors might have the assets to do it. Dallas probably has the assets too. So I don't know. That's another thing too. It's like it's not just Phoenix alone that he wants to go to. There's other teams involved here. Like I said, you guys get your comments, questions in right now. I'll try to get to as many as I can. I already see a couple here. Keep in mind too that it does take a minute or two for the chat to update. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any. Let's see. The Goon says, cool. Send up Jimmy and Bam on a vet minimum as long as we're dreaming. I love that. That'd be awesome, y'all. Could you imagine Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo on the vet minimum with this Suns team? Okay. Jordan says it's a good thing to have a gut feeling because Matt Ishbia loves to spend to win. Exactly. I 100% agree. Okay. Let's get to a couple questions here. Abraham says, can Beal just be waived and let him walk away, just like how Brunson walked away and Rose in New York from Dallas? It's not any player can be waived, to my knowledge, anyways. I don't think there's such thing as a no waive contract, but you would be waiving $50 million, $100 million, technically, from my knowledge, anyways. You'd be waiving hundreds of millions of dollars away. And even though Matt Ishbia is extremely rich, that would be a huge bill, debt, whatever you want to call it. That would just be a disaster. So technically, you can waive any player you want, but that would not be the smartest financial decision. And Jalen Brunson's situation, I believe, is a little bit different. I don't think Jalen Brunson got waived. I think his time was just up in Dallas, and they let him walk, and now he's like one of the best players in the league. So to answer your question, no. It's not impossible that they're not just going to waive Bradley Beal. They're not going to do that. Let's see. Alley Oop says Jimmy doesn't even want to carry an offense like in Miami. He would have the role he wants in Phoenix. I think I get what you're saying. I mean, I assume he would probably play whatever role Mike Budenholzer would want him to play, but he would definitely be a great X factor on this team. Let me see. There was a good question in here. So this won't be the last time I talk about it. This won't be the first time I talk about it. Oh, sorry, this isn't the first time I talked about it. This isn't the last time I'm going to talk about it. Is it finally time to trade Nurkic? I know I sound like a broken record. I know I sound delusional. And I'm not just saying this because we've been struggling lately, but I will say we could have used Nurk as of late. A lot of y'all are always complaining about this team's too small. We don't have enough physicality. We get crushed by big men like Goga Batadze and all them and Bam Adebayo. Well, we sure could have used Nurkic on this 3-game road trip. Just saying. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. If Nurkic keeps struggling like he's been doing before he went down with the ankle injury, if he keeps struggling and isn't producing and is getting played off the floor, yes, I think he will be traded. But if he is putting in high quality minutes and is playing well and helping us get wins and staying healthy, I don't think the Suns trade him. We will see. Only time will tell. Let's see. Jabari says, yeah, having Jimmy would bring out that dog and book and KD even more. Absolutely. I honestly wonder what the relationship or friendship is with Kevin Durant, and Jimmy Butler and Devin Booker and Jimmy Butler. Like, are they friends off the court? Especially him and KD. You got to think they're probably friends, right? I'm sure Jimmy Butler has a lot of respect for D Book. You know what I mean? Good question here from M Cole 42. Do we think Beal would opt out? Do we think he's happy here. I want to start with that last question. I honestly think he is happy here. I really do believe that. And that's why that's why I think we've seen, not really as of late, but at the start of the season, we saw a much more happier Bradley Beal, a much more like vocal, like bouncy Bradley Beal. I really do believe he's happy here. Remember, y'all, he's married. He's got a wife. He has kids. They live in Phoenix, to my knowledge, or they live somewhere in Arizona, I assume. But, they're at the games all the time, So I don't think Bradley Beal, I don't think he's not happy here. But again, if you don't win, what happens then? I don't know if he would opt out, but maybe the front office, if things continue to go bad, maybe the front office convinces him to waive the no trade clause. I don't know. I was also reading something too. I forgot where this came from. I don't know if it was from, I forgot. I wish I could remember which website so I could give them credit. If the Suns do keep Bradley Beal, maybe eventually they can talk him into coming off of the bench, because we've seen a lot of great players that have aged, that have had injury issues, come off the bench and find like a new role. Maybe then. I don't know. Maybe that's another reason the Suns don't want to give up on him yet. Maybe they can convince him to come off the bench, be a big time part of that second unit, help win some games, enter a new phase in Bradley Beal's career. I don't know. Harlan Vegas says, hey, Suns Geek, do you know what the Phoenix Suns will be doing in the Phoenix Suns community for Christmas? Man, I wish I knew. Speaking of that, y'all, I am moving back to the Valley later this month. So hopefully I'll have more of like a feel and a grasp for stuff like that, but I have no clue, man. I do know that Mike Budenholzer is doing something with giving back to like the homeless and feeding families. That Suns just announced that today, but I don't know if there's any like parties planned or big games. Like, I don't know, y'all. Like, I wish I knew. I probably should know that, but I really don't. Yeah, Abraham, I think I'm with you, man. This is why I'm kind of giving it like a 40% chance, and I keep saying I have a gut feeling. Abraham says, all I can say, if Jimmy wants to go to Phoenix, Matt Ishbia will get it done, just like how he got it done overnight with KD. Now keep in mind, y'all, Matt Ishbia has even said this. He's gone on record and said it. The KD stuff was like building up. Like the Suns and the Nets were talking like a month or two, maybe even longer, before Matt Ishbia took over. But when Matt Ishbia officially bought the team, he was already part of these conversations. Even though he technically wasn't the owner, Matt Ishbia recently said this too. Even though he wasn't the owner, he was having the Kevin Durant conversations like months, weeks in advance. So it's not like Matt Ishbia signs his papers and crosses the T's and dots the I's and yada, 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 and then traded for Kevin Durant the same day. No, this was like months and weeks in advance. But I do agree. If Matt Ishbia, wants Jimmy Butler, and if Jimmy Butler wants to be in Phoenix, I think they can get it done. Okay. Let's see. Jordan, you're funny, man. Jordan says, very doubtful, but if Bradley Beal wants to be traded, do we go after Trae Young and John Morant? Let's just go after all the stars, y'all. I wish. All right, last one, y'all, then we're going to wrap up this show. Jimmy Butler would fit better than Bradley Beal. The defense and offense would be so much better if the Suns were able to trade Bradley for Jimmy. Yep, that's pretty much what we've been saying, man. Hopefully it would look a lot better on the court than what we've seen with the Suns' big three and Bradley Beal and all that. But and let me just say one more thing, y'all. Not lately, but prior to the recent Suns struggles, I think it does get overlooked that Bradley Beal was actually having a pretty good season. And again, his recent stretch of games hasn't, shown that. But prior to KD's injuries and the Suns' struggles, he was actually having a pretty good year. So I don't want to just like sit here and trash all over Bradley Beal, but like Bradley Beal, if you're watching, you got to start producing on the court, man. You got to get us some W's and you got to stay healthy. I know you can't control injuries. Injuries suck. Trust me, I know that. I've had 2 shoulder injuries, so I get it. But you got to stay healthy. You got to start producing on the court. It's literally championship or bust. That's why Matt Ishbia bought the team, spent millions of dollars to go way over the luxury tax and all that, and the salary and the CBA stuff. That's why we traded for Kevin Durant. That's why we traded for Bradley Beal. That's why we got high-quality role players. That's why Tyus Jones signed with the Phoenix Suns on a minimum deal. He got like $3 million to come play for us. He could have made twice that amount of money somewhere else. It is championship or bust in Phoenix. And I believe that Matt Ishbia and the Suns front offices and ownership, I believe that they can get us to a championship, but we have to stay healthy. We have to stay connected. We have to not lose games we should win. You're not going to go 82-0, but you can at least get 60-something wins. You can beat those bad teams. You can beat those injured teams. Like we lost to the Pelicans who were really injured. The Orlando Magic just lost Paulo and Franz Wagner, and we lost to them. And the Miami Heat, they're not bad, but they're not great either. We lost to them. We lost to the Brooklyn Nets. Like, you can't be losing these kind of games. Can't do that. So I guess I'll just kind of end my show. Jordan, I'll try to get to your question next time because that's a great question. But anyways, I guess I'll just end the show with, what I've talked about before. And I just made a video about this too, y'all. Please do not lose hope in the Phoenix Suns. Please, y'all, keep wearing your Phoenix Suns merchandise. Like you can see, I'm rocking a Phoenix Suns hat. I'm rocking my Valley Boys t-shirt that I got a long time ago. Please keep repping the Phoenix Suns. Please keep believing in the Phoenix Suns. I know it's a bad stretch right now. I know the vibes are really bad. And I know Suns Twitter is like in a civil war and everybody's at each other's throats and everybody wants Bradley Beal traded or Nurkic traded. But y'all, please keep believing in the Phoenix Suns. Just remember, we are a great team when we're healthy. Keep going to the games and just trust that we will turn things around. Hopefully we will turn things around. And if not, y'all, remember, there's always next season and we can learn from this and hopefully get better and just believe, y'all. Keep believing in the Phoenix Suns because, again, you already know the drill here on Suns Geek. Win or lose, Phoenix Suns for life, y'all. If we're winning 18 games, I'm still going to be on here talking about the latest Suns news. So believe in the Suns team, and we will see what happens. You already know, guys. Any Suns news, I'm going to do my best to go live about it. I did want to kind of give you guys an update. If you guys, haven't been following for whatever reason, but long story short, I will be moving back to the Valley here like in less than a couple of weeks. So there might be a few days where I don't upload. Just a heads up. I'm going to try to have an update schedule, like a video scheduled to update or to upload. But yeah, there might be a few days where I miss a few games here and there, but that's because I'm literally moving back to the Valley, which I'm super excited for. Got lots planned, lots more content on the way, and just super excited. I'm super thankful. I'm super blessed that I'm moving back to the Valley. So just a heads up, there might be a few days here and there where I don't upload, and the Suns news, at least on this channel, will be slow because, I can't really upload. But obviously, if Jimmy Butler were to get traded to the Suns, I would just pull out my phone and just make a video right then and there. So yeah, that's the update. Okay, y'all. Again, if I missed your comment question, leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments on this chat or in a future or in a video. Like, hey, Suns Geek, can you answer this question or whatever? And I'll do that in the next video or live show. Maybe we'll start that up. Like if I miss your comment, put it in a video, and maybe I'll get to that soon. So appreciate you guys. You guys are all amazing. We had like 50 something people in here at one point. Seriously, you guys, crush that like button, share the show. Hitman X, I appreciate you, my guy, for being here. One of the oldest Suns fans. You know, he's been with us just as long as I have, y'all. Appreciate you being here, man. But yeah, you guys are all awesome. God bless you guys. God bless all the Phoenix Suns in the chat. Stay safe out there, y'all. Happy holidays. Be kind to people. Be patient with people, especially during this busy time. And hold on, y'all. Before we go, I just saw this tweet pop up. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, okay. Before we go, this isn't breaking news or anything. This is just a fan thing. I just saw it tweet. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. I thought I was going to go, but the Suns news never stops. Speaking of that, I'm so grateful that I have this platform and channel, because I was like, oh, I'm going to come home like after work, like eat my dinner, play with my dogs, and then like start packing some more and then go and watch a movie. And then bam, the Jimmy Butler news happens. But, and I was literally just about to end the show, and I still am. We're only going to spend like a minute on this. But one of my favorite follows on Twitter, I love this tweet. Again, I doubt this happens, but I just think it's funny. One of my favorite follows on Twitter, AZ Sports Zone, tweets out, so this is legal. And this is just one of those hypothetical trade scenarios. He goes, I'll lower this so you guys can see it. Hold on. Give me a second here, you guys. Jimmy Butler, Josh Richardson for Bradley Beal, and a 2031 first round pick. So this is legal. I love that. That's how we're going to end the show, y'all. Bradley Beal for Josh Richardson and Jimmy Butler. The math works. It checks out. Could you imagine, y'all? Can you guys imagine? Stay away from the trade machines, y'all, like Jordan says. Seriously, you guys, I literally had to take a 24-hour break from Twitter because Suns Twitter was just melting down. Everybody wanted Beal traded and Nurkic traded, and I even saw some Devin Booker stuff floating around. Y'all are crazy. Stay off the trade machines. They are like a word that I won't use on here. They're bad. Stay away from the trade machines, y'all. I see you going right now to your trade. I see you. You stop. You put the phone down. Stop going to the keyboard. Go watch a movie. Go do something productive and stay off those trade machines. Derek says, breaking news, Suns Geek is getting traded to the Phoenix Suns for real. I was traded to Memphis for 4 years, and after 4 years, I'm getting traded back to the Phoenix Suns, and God willing, I am never, ever leaving Phoenix again, except for when I go to Summer League. I'm going to make it my goal to never leave the Valley ever again, because I missed Phoenix. I love Phoenix. I'm so blessed and thankful to be moving back to the Valley. Okay, for real now, y'all. Show's over. I'm done. We went over an hour and a half. God bless you guys. Stay safe. Peace out. God bless. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Peace out. And go Suns.